What is up, you guys? Pete DiCarlo, and quickly, I wanted to hop on it. I didn't plan to make this video, but I want to talk about Apple. I started a position in Apple today as a trade, and on this channel, I have been bringing in a little bit more of some potential trade ideas and different trades that I'm taking and why I'm taking them. So if you are interested in this type of content, make sure you let me know down below. I still will be doing my fundamental analysis, my long-term investing analysis, but overall, I want to talk a little bit about Apple and why I took a position in here. So overall, if we take a look at Apple, you can see that we did have a pretty strong move up. This is a weekly chart, but let me actually go to the daily. You can see we've had a very strong move to the upside here. We had this move from lows of around the Rona of like $53 back in March of last year to highs of about $140. Most recently actually hit all-time highs of $145, which is about 158% return. This move took about 162 days. We did have a pretty strong sell-off from there after that 4-to-1 split, because honestly, that was back when Tesla and both Apple were going pretty crazy because of those splits that were happening. Took a pretty big fade down to $103, bounced on support perfectly, really. And we started to make what is called a bull pendant. So we had a strong bullish pendant that was happening right here, where essentially we had resistances that were slowly moving their way down to a strong support of $120 and slow supports that were moving their way up to that $120 mark. And then we eventually get a squeeze, which is called an apex. Now, the last time that I saw buying like this that was happening on Apple was when we had this breakout. And if you guys remember, on this channel, I was talking about how Apple was going to be making a move up to $140. I actually think I put 2 videos out on this channel, and some of you guys actually followed my advice and profited about 20%, which is pretty huge, especially for a company as big as Apple to move that much in about 2.5 weeks. Well, since then, we had a good consolidation bull flag pattern, a good little run up into our earnings, and I think earnings on Apple was actually really good. However, with the price being around $145, just because earnings are great doesn't mean that the stock is always going to move in a continuation of an upward pattern. So we did have a pretty strong pullback on Apple. The entire market pulled back in the past couple of weeks before finally bouncing. So this is about a 10% pullback down to support. We bounced on that $130 support, which solidified that as a line in the sand that we are not going to allow that to break support and then eventually fall lower. And since then, we've really just been squeezing within this price range of about $133 and $138. Now today, Apple is down about 0.5%. We are holding at support, and honestly, I think today was just kind of a shaking out the weak hands, if you guys have ever heard of that before. Seeming though that we are getting a nice bounce, I do think that we will be releasing from this squeeze to the upside within the next probably 7 to 14 days. And we have a strong squeeze that's happening on this 4-hour chart. So ultimately, when a squeeze like this happens, we either get a big sizable move down to about $125 on Apple, or we get a sizable move to the upside, anywhere between $145 up to $150. But what I want to talk about is the buying that is happening on Apple. So there's a lot of moves that are occurring. I actually want to make this a little bit bigger because I know you guys have a little bit of trouble seeing this at home. So right now you can see we have had 2020, so at 100 million. So about $350 to $400 million worth of dark pool moves that have happened today on Apple. And actually another $20 million move just got canceled, about $150,000 shares that was about to go through. If we look at the buying, there's been a lot of consistent buying on Apple within the past couple of days. And if we take a look as well at the past couple of, let me go to the history and let's look at the historical. Well, you can see today alone there's been a lot of calls, but let's just look at the historical, because I've noticed there's been a lot of flow within the past week. So let's do like the 4th to the 10th. And once again, a lot of calls coming in yesterday. A lot of these are 212s, which I don't really care for because they're just day trades, but still right here. So this was a big block I saw yesterday that came in 121 2022's $175 strike. So this is 1 year out, but this was almost, within a couple of minutes, about $4 to $5 million worth of calls that came in, a couple of puts, but nothing too crazy. Overall, the flow has been pretty strong on Apple. The flow today, once again, even though it's fading, and that's something I like to see, even though a stock is down today, we are still getting a lot of buying happening on the black box, and also with a ton of calls that are coming in, and it's a very, very good sign. I always, just because something has a really good flow for the day doesn't mean that I'm just going to take a position. But with this good technical analysis setup, and with this aggressive buying that we've been seeing for the past couple of days, coupled with the fact that we have a squeeze going on, to me, I feel like the risk versus reward on this play is very high. So if I had to guess, I would think that Apple within the next 17, probably 7 to 21 days, will probably be up around 145 and then potentially up to $150. Now, overall, I do think that the market has to, I just don't like the way that the market is looking right now. I don't know. I feel that like we need some sort of news of more stimulus potentially, or something to continue to drive this insane market that we've had for like the past year and a half. But overall, I really do like the way that Apple is setting up. I do have a position. It's nothing crazy. Right now, I have about 70 shares, which is about $10,000, and I do have some put credit spreads that expire in March. So a lot of the big calls that have been happening have been for March, $140 strike if you are looking to play the straight up options side of this. But overall, I really like this play. I wanted to share this with you guys because last time I saw buying happening like this was when we got this big gap up move that happened, and a lot of it was because of the news that they were going to be making a car. Now, recently we did see that Toyota and I believe Kia said that they were not going to be, what was it? I think it was Hyundai. Actually, I think it was Hyundai. So I forget off the top of my head, guys. Said that they weren't going to be partnering with Apple, but I feel that there's some news coming out. I feel that somebody knows something. I could be wrong. Just because big money's buying something and there's a good setup happening here doesn't mean it has to be right. But for me, it is worth the risk to take a position. So overall, guys, thank you for watching. If you want to be a part of my private stock market academy, get access to all my trades live as soon as I take them, live stream with me like this every single morning with my team for the first hour of market open, and get access to 60 hours of courses and lectures that teach you everything from fundamental investing, day trading, swing trading, options trading, charting, literally everything that I know living off the markets for the past 7 years. You can use the link down below. Use the code Academy90 and you start for $10 your first month. And we're at over 5,000 subscribers here, guys. Really means the world to me. Thank you for all of the support, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.